cliff-top civilization was akin to the heavens themselves. Wingless reptilian angels floated through the air, attending to gardens in the clouds and tilling run rigs stacked upon each other in one enormous tower of farmland. The air smelled of peat and sweat from the floating farms mixed with a sweet aroma wafting from the flowers growing above my head. I ducked just in time to avoid a tail club swinging from a Pangean passing overhead. I saw a grand staircase reaching into the sky, the top concealed by clouds. While I was stuck in appreciation, Zakar slinkered off and was no longer by my side. The wonder drained from me, and I felt an immense sense of isolation as the only land-bound creature topped the cliff. My tool bag pulled on my shoulder, its weight returning, reminding me of the job I had come to the isle to complete. Wrought out of my bewilderment, I pressed on, deciding to head towards the singular building attached to the ground. The eyes of all the Pangeans set on me as I progressed. The metal door was large and heavy set, decorated with ornate leaves and shells from animals yet undiscovered to us. A sign above, no doubt identifying this building, were calligraphic characters that I could only describe as alien. The large insignia I would later discover was that of the insurgents, shone on the stone. No other option presented itself. I raised my hand and knocked on the door. It rang with a powerful timbre. I raised my fist to knock again, but after a cacophony of stone and metal grinding together, I found my hand fell short. Unperturbed, I attempted to knock again, but could not find the strength to raise my fist higher than my waist. A scan of the rest of my body, and I came to understand that it was not fatigue that was keeping me from lifting my fist, but that the pull of my left hand towards the ground had increased tenfold. I could no longer combat the pull, and my hand hit the ground with a crunch that I knew meant injured bones. I was at the mercy of gravitational force. My mind settled. Careful not to twist my arm, I sat down on the rocky floor. Struggling would be a waste of my time. I needed a plan. As I sat, the crowd of Pangeans snickered. Flashes of a distant childhood memory flooded my mind. The stocks in the middle of our town, clamped using electromagnets. Then it came to me. On instinct, I took up the proper stance, limbs straight and feet anchored to the ground. I outstretched my free hand towards the door and strained my mind to visualize the switch. The group of Pangeans ceased snickering and surrounded me, binocular eyes fixed in curiosity. I stopped visualizing. Hope that ripping the door from its hinges would be enough left my body. It would not. I cursed myself for leaving my rings aboard the ship. I winced in premonitory pain, beginning the visualization process again. The switch flipped, and the familiar, almost unpleasant tingle of current flowed through me. I tilted my head straight, and I heard the swaying of my earrings. I pulled my hand back, and the door came with it, attracted to the magnetic force exuding from me. Inside, two Pangeans huddled, but I had no time to observe them as the current threatened to set me alight. I slammed the door to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust which forced some Pangeans off me and, careful to direct a sufficient amount of both directions, I sent most of the current into the stone below me, dissipating it into the insular material. As I had predicted, the Pangeans within the now doorless building approached me. I directed the remaining current still within me up my neck toward my head. The power burned, and I knew I'd be in for a lengthy lecture when I returned home. But, out of options, I channeled the current into my metallic earrings, and they glowed with incandescent light. I raised my hand to my head and attracted the now charged earrings to it. They ripped from my ears with a physical tear, and the floor beneath me stained with blood. A flick of the wrist later, and the two Pangeans lay subdued, and my earrings sat shining, not glowing. My left hand was free. I walked over to collect them, not daring to push my limits, and now, in this moment of levity, I could finally analyse my aggressors. One bore a long neck atop its otherwise humanoid body, and the other had a sharp and cracked horn protruding from its face. In the blood pooling at my feet, a familiar reflection manifested. Zakar had returned, a scowl dominating his face. I could never have expected the events that occurred in the following minutes. I hung my head in shame for using my magic outside my prerogative, knowing that a claim of self-defense would not fly in front of the council, or indeed here with Zakar. As a member of the Positive Charge Guild, I was under no circumstances permitted to use my magic outside of construction or repair, especially on peoples of C rank or lower. A measure of fear joined the concoction of emotions brewing inside me, as the notion of expulsion came to mind. Surprised though, my feet remained planted on the cliff. I am truly sorry, Zakar. Zakar stalked to my assailers and helped them to their feet. His chin pointed towards me. Another rumble escaped his throat. Use magic, not this way, for betterment. The assailers grunted back what I could only assume was native profanity. Same language. Reply. Good manners, came the response from Zakar. The two who had attacked me, I would later learn, Bratchery and Anik, scowled at Zakar and contorted their mouths trying to speak my language in retaliation. Instead, what escaped was a garbled mess of noise that to me was indiscernible. By some miracle, Zakar understood and replied to them with serenity. This is a reach, here to make talkie station. I found the description of my monolithic task to be slightly reductive, but I did not even dare to breathe, fearful of breaking the trance Zakar had placed them under. Must help and learn. Progress. The last word Zakar struggled to summon. Progress. It was fortunate then that indeed their majestic influences had commissioned this mission just for this purpose, as they had done with the Decayers in the north, the Finbacks in the west, and a great deal of other societies, magical or otherwise. I was here to help. Newton Mancy was not the only magic available to Zakar. It seemed as if his words, with their own power, had somehow pacified the two, at least to some extent. This didn't keep them from spitting at the floor by my feet as they left towards the grand staircase and disappeared from view, however. Zakar wheeled around to me, and I knew now it was my turn to be reprimanded. Bratchery, Anik, no unity, but Pangean good, no fight. His crustaceous gaze broke me from my rumination. I am sorry, I told him. This is your jurisdiction, not mine. My apology seemed to placate the Pangean before me, and he clapped his arms to his crest in what I understood as a sign of respect. Come. Zakar turned on his heels and walked away, leaving me to gather myself and run after him. I matched his pace, walking in tow with him, but not before looking into the building Bratchery and Anik had ambushed me from. larger inside than the dimensions allowed. An altar sat at the back. Lo, an ornate tapestry depicting 4 orbs falling towards a planet. I rubbed my eyes. On second glance, the room had become mundane. The altar gone.